What's your name?
My name is Xavier, but you call me Zay or CeeLo.
What's your name?
Hector.
What's your name?
Naja Howard.
And Savion Wallace.
What's your name?
Angela.
I don't know what to say, bro. The Confederate flag is a symbol of hate that was people died for about keeping slaves and trying to separate North and South. I think it needs to be done away with. I think people need to forget about it. I'm from the South. It's very apparent that people want to keep it. I see people flying the flag all the time, and I never have understood why or it's necessary or how I think it's okay still, but I think it needs to be gone.
Hector, do you know what the Confederate flag is?
Yeah, it's a flag.
Do you know what it symbolizes?
Well, it depends on who you ask,
Why do you say it depends on who you ask?
because it can symbolize different things. Some people say it symbolizes racism. Some people might think it represents their ancestors that defended the South during the Civil War.
Okay. Thank you. Do you guys know what the Confederate flag is?
Yeah.
I do.
What do you think it symbolizes?
All the injustices that our country was founded on.
Do you know what the Confederate flag is?
Yes, I know what the Confederate flag is.
Do you know what do you think it symbolizes?
It symbolizes racism, white power, supremacy.
How do you feel about the Confederate flag?
I really don't see how it's making a difference in our lives, period. But a lot of people think it's a big deal, but I'm not one of those people.
Do you guys know what the Confederate flag is?
Yes.
What do you think it represents?
I think it represents what the Confederates stood for in the past, but today it's viewed more as a racist symbol.
I think it has always represented, ever since it was created, racism and hatred, but they're putting it on a flag so it won't seem as hostile as it really is.
Why do you think why do you think it represents racism? Like, why is that like the first thing that comes to your head?
Because the Confederates fought so that we would be able to have our own rights.
It's the what?
The white people flag.
Why do you think it's the white people flag?
Because every time black people see it, they be like, oh, they
They
got
mad.
a Confederate
They
flag hanging
butt
out.
hurt.
They racist.
Yep. So that's why.
Like, when you see a Confederate flag, you think about white people being racist.
So you don't think that white people maybe were like born with it? Like it was something that they grew up. The reason why they would think that the flag.
Yeah,
is okay?
they could have, but once you adapt, then you need to take that down. Yeah, you adapt to your surroundings. Therefore, you don't.
To me personally, and I don't know much about the Confederate War, but to me the Confederate flag means nothing. It was a U.S. rebellion that we celebrate. I don't completely understand why it's celebrated if it was a rebellion.
Do you know what the Confederate flag is?
Yes.
Do you know what it symbolizes?
Yes.
So, more or less, what the Confederate flag means to me is just like I know it has the negative connotation of slavery and like Civil War, Confederacy, going back and forth of who has the right to own a slave, who doesn't have the right to own a slave, and like me as a black man, I do understand that, but I feel at this time in our generation, it's kind of dulled in a sense to where it's like, yeah, I know you have a Confederate flag, but
I truly believe that the Confederate flag is symbolized as just a symbol. I feel like it's just a symbol that's used out there for all different types of ways. I feel like it's not really a certain word that you can use to describe the Confederate flag. And so I feel like it all depends on who that person is, who that race is, how that person feels. Because, I mean, you have Confederate people that celebrate the Confederate flag because, one, they're unaware what it is and what it stands for. You got two that actually have ancestors that come back to it. You have African Americans that believe they're racist. And I just believe it's just a symbol. And it depends on who you are to interpret what it is.